Okay, hello everybody. This is our first lecture for Introduction to Drawing. So in these lectures, it's really important that you're taking notes. We're going to be going over drawing techniques, vocabulary, a little bit of art history. It's going to be important that you're writing notes about these different subjects and topics. We're going to be using that kind of vocabulary throughout the class. When I'm helping you, when you're inside a class drawing, you're going to need to know some of these terms. When we're critiques discussing our work, there's going to be a lot of vocabulary that we're going to need to understand. So make sure you're taking good notes. So if you haven't already, grab out that sketchbook and let's start taking some notes. So today's lecture is going to be a brief overview of things. We're going to talk about the history of drawing, different types of drawing and its uses. I'm going to go over some basic compositional terms and techniques. Some of this you're going to be getting in 2D design. It might be a little bit of an overlap, but for some of us, this might be their first art class. So knowing basic vocabulary pertaining to composition is going to be a big thing. And then we're going to be talking about drawing exercises, which we're going to do both in and outside of class, I think. Okay, drawing is an image that is made by making a mark on a surface. Okay, now that surface can be a lot of different things. For us, it's probably going to be paper, but it could also be a wall. It could be a human body. It can be tons and tons of different things. And this is often made with a dry material. Okay, painting's made with wet material usually. Drawing's made with dry material. So that's a pencil, charcoal, chalk, those types of things. Drawing's been around for forever. It's a form of visual communication that predates the written word. Drawing has a lot of different roles. It can be used to document what we see. It can be used to help us plan. So you might be in this class wanting to get better at drawing things that you see. Some of you might be photographers or graphic designers or sculptors, and drawing's often used a lot of times in lots of different fields to help us plan out things. Architects use drawing. All types of engineers will use drawing. So drawing can help us plan things out. Drawing can help portray emotion, so the mark is very expressive. And there's lots of different ways of portraying different moods and feelings through our mark making. And it can take us to places imagined, places unseen, kind of like this weird surreal drawing by Jim Woodwarding. Okay, so drawing's always evolved. Some of the techniques that we're learning in this class took hundreds and hundreds of years to master and understand. And there was lots of tools that were made. People had to take a piece of glass and a mirror and put some holes through it to figure out how to draw buildings. And they had to go trace photographs and stuff like that to kind of figure out how these different perspectives were happening. So don't feel bad. Some of these tools took a long time, and some of these techniques take lifetimes to kind of master. And drawing's always evolving. Even though we have lots of computers and tablets out there, we're going to be continuing to draw, I think, forever, hopefully. Anyways, so some terms that we need to talk about. There's representational and non-representational or non-objective. I might interchange those two. So representational and non-objective. Okay, so representational art is art that seeks to depict the physical appearance of reality. Now that reality might be a pretty weird and dreamlike reality, but it's still a reality. So it's things that I can identify. I can be like, that's a weird worm dude, or that's Chuck Close smoking a cigarette. Okay. Non-objective is kind of a big departure from that reality. It doesn't depict any reality. It's purely abstract. Okay. So in this class, we're going to be predominantly doing representational. We're not going to be doing much non-objective. Okay. So I'm sorry if you wanted to get very abstract. This class is mostly about honing our skills on perceptual drawing, so then we can go and make abstract works. We can go and take better photographs. We can go and do cartooning, build sets, so on and so forth. Okay. So if I went and took a photo, we can see that on the left. It's probably as representational as a 2D thing can get. And as we go down this line towards the right, we can see things get more and more non-objective. They get more and more abstract. Okay. But for the most part in this class, we're going to be working on the left side, dealing with representational art. Okay, so some basic terminology dealing with compositions. let's go over this. So I might use the word composition, and it just means design. Okay, so we got a bunch of elements, a bunch of objects. Sometimes those objects are going to be bottles, sometimes those objects might be people, and we're designing, we're figuring out where we're going to put them on a picture plane. Okay, so one thing we might need to cover is we have two different ways of having our piece of paper that we're going to be drawing on. We have landscape and portrait, also known as horizontal and vertical. So if I say this drawing needs to be vertical, or this drawing needs to be portrait, it's going to go up and down. Landscape's going to go left and right. Okay. Some other kind of vocabulary words that I might drop in the middle of class or in the middle of a lecture. We have a piece of paper, it's blank. That piece of paper is called a picture plane. It's flat. The outside of that piece of paper is the picture frame. Okay. If I don't have anything on my piece of paper, it is empty space. I might also call it negative space. Once I draw something on there, like my friend Ted right here, it's filled space, it's been activated, so it's positive space. So if I tell you you need to activate the paper more, that means you probably got a lot of negative space or empty space. Okay. We're going to be dealing with line to start off with. Okay. Line is a point in motion. We got this image here of Picasso. He's doing that kind of classic, kind of now cliche thing. I don't know. People did this all the time when I was in college, where they take a photo at a really low exposure, and as that thing is exposing, as that little window of the camera is open, they have somebody with a flashlight or a lighter move it around really quickly, and you can kind of draw with light. So he's drawing a classic Picasso person. So line is the start of all drawing. Okay, there are a couple different types of lines that we're going to go through. Actual line. That line is really there. Okay, so I make a mark on a paper, it's really there. We have an implied line. It's a line created through continuation. So I make a few dots, and our brain connects those dots together, and I have a line, right? Now we can do this in a composition. We have a group of people, maybe we have a bunch of bottles, maybe we have a group of apples. Our brain's going to connect those together and make a line, kind of like what's happening in this photo. We got a psychic line. We're not going to deal with this too much, but a psychic line is where there's no real line, yet we kind of feel one. So psychic lines are created, you see them all the time in like classic Renaissance paintings. It's when people are looking a certain direction or they're pointing with their finger. So if you see a painting or photograph and someone's pointing, your brain's automatically going to be like, hey, I want to go see what that finger's pointing at. Usually I do this in class, I'll point right at somebody in the front row, but I can't do that. It's really weird doing lectures via YouTube. Anyways, so here's an example. We got this little kid looking in a bucket. There's a line there. We got a bunch of different psychic lines happening here with the guy walking one direction, the horse is looking a different direction, they're running another way. So a psychic line, we kind of feel it. Okay. Different applications of line. So we're going to talk about a few different applications of line. And this is pretty crucial stuff to write down. So we have contour line versus outline. So outline's pretty easy to understand, you know. It's the outer edge of an object. So outline is a line that's around the outer edge of a three-dimensional object. So I take a piece of paper, I put my hand down on it, I trace my hand to make maybe one of those, you know, first grade turkeys for Thanksgiving, and I got an outline, kind of like that image up top. A contour line is an outline, but it also has these interior lines that give some three-dimensionality to it. So I go and I start to add in some veins or some wrinkles or some hairs, and now I have a contour line drawing. Okay. So this first set of drawing exercise we're going to be doing, a lot of them are going to be contour outlines. Or, sorry, my bad. A lot of them are going to be contour line drawings. So here's some examples of some like classical contour line drawings done in the early 1900s by Peschen and George Gross. So you can see there's lots of different thickness and thinness in lines, lots of little details. So today we're going to be doing some drawing exercises. And I say today, hopefully you're going to do them today. Hopefully you're going to go out, grab that sketchbook, be really inspired by this great lecture, and go and start drawing things in the world. So these exercises are really important. Like a lot of people will come into class and they're like, I can't draw. I don't know how to draw. I'm not going to learn. And a lot of people think that drawing is a skill that you are born with. And that's a complete lie. It's a skill like anything else. With practice and time, you're going to get better at it. I'm not a big athlete, but I like to make lots of jokes about sports. So, a lot of what we're going to be doing today is lifting weights. Okay. So the more you lift weights, the better you're going to be at, I don't know, whatever sports ball stuff that you do. But the exercises today, we're going to be building hand-eye coordination. We're going to be building an ability to observe and see. So one thing you're going to learn the more you draw is that you're actually going to notice fine details more. You're going to notice differences in values and shadows more. It's really important, I think, to draw, especially even if you're going to go into photography or video, because drawing is going to help you slow down and see things better. These exercises are going to help build your skills at composition, help build your skills at speed, because a lot of times people draw really slow when they first start off. If they just loosen up, speed up, they'll actually get a drawing a lot better, a lot quicker. And we're going to build skills at line sensitivity. Okay. So when we're doing these exercises, we just don't need to stop drawing. Just keep drawing, keep going. The first ones are going to look rough. The second ones might look rough, but after you do it a while, they're going to get better. Okay. Another sports ball analogy. You need to keep your eye on the ball. Okay. So your eye should remain on the subject. Don't look down at your paper. Keep your eye out there on that subject. Your eye, as it's going around looking at that subject, your hand should be going on that same path. So what we're going to be doing for these, and this will make more sense when you go watch a demo, is as I look at an object and as my eye moves around that object, I'm drawing in my piece of paper and my hands moving around, kind of following that same path of my eye. A lot of these exercises are going to feel really uncomfortable. Just go with it, embrace it, laugh at the bad ones, be happy with the good ones. We're not making masterpieces right now. We're just practicing, We're just practicing. And if you put the hard work into it, it's going to get better over time. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some continuous line drawing. So we're going to be working with a pen. We're going to use only one line to draw the whole drawing. So there's no erasing, there's no finding lines. You're just trying your best. So you put the pen down. I got some Mr. Potato Head characters here. You're looking at them, your eye and your hand are trying to be synced up. And as you're moving your hand, moving your eye at the same time. So your pen never leaves the paper. You use both outlines and interior shapes to kind of draw the whole thing. Next up we're going to have is a blind contour. It's kind of the same thing. We're going to work with pen again. But what we're going to do is we're going to draw and we're not going to look at the paper. So your hand-eye coordination, if you do this a lot, will get stronger. A lot of people, when they first come into drawing class, that's the one thing they need to build right off the bat is hand-eye coordination. So what you're going to do is you're going to start drawing and you're not going to look at your page. You're going to try to strengthen that hand-eye coordination a little bit. Okay. So those are the two things that we're going to be really dealing with today. They're going to start off maybe looking a little rough, but the more you do it, the better you'll get. The example I have on the left, you can start to see all these little fine details, like the person's really kind of slowed down, picked up on those details of the teeth, what's happening in the eye. This looks like it's like a drawing that we can actually make out who that person is. It's actually a drawing done by a 17-year-old, but when you're doing this, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay. So that's going to conclude our drawing. Please go look at the other stuff we got on there and let me know if you need help with sketches, if you need help with some of the other demos. Okay. Hope that all made sense. I will see you soon.